Welcome to Marketplace Africa, where we cover the biggest economic trends impacting the continent. I'm Eleni Jacos, and this week I come to you from Dakar in Senegal. Now, walk into any supermarket in this country and you'll eventually come across this aisle: powdered milk. Now, it's really ironic because Senegal is traditionally a country of herders. So you'd think that what would be served on the tables here would be fresh milk produced locally, but instead it is this. Now, the herders have been impacted by droughts, and of course the biggest threat, well, is powdered milk. Now, the European Commission reported that in 2016 the EU exported more than 36,000 metric tons of milk powder into West Africa. That is up from 13,000 metric tons in 2011. Now the country wants to reclaim its grasp on the dairy industry, and it's hoping that means milk straight from the source. Even before day breaks, Musa Diallo sets out to start his day. He is part of the Fulani people, nomadic herders who look over the livestock that roam the Senegalese savannah. Under the watchful eye of their herders, the animals graze, their udders filling with milk. Fresh milk that almost never makes it into the dairy products people consume here.
I would bring all my milk to the market. Sometimes I sold it all, but sometimes I didn't. And then it went bad.
This isn't because people in Senegal don't like milk. Demand for dairy is estimated at more than 400,000 metric tons per year, and that's according to Dalberg Development Advisors. And it's rising, driven by a booming population and a growing middle class. But around 80% of the dairy people buy is made from the imported milk powder, mostly coming from Europe.
In Europe, animals produce a lot more milk. Sometimes they even have too much. So a large part of Europe's fresh milk is turned into powder they don't even consume.
With this cheap powder readily available, dairy companies paid no interest to local milk. But one man has set out to change that.
I got convinced that we had to build a business to link local production with these traditional herders that represent something like 30% of our population.
So Batili decided to bring his production straight to the source. With his factory located 400 kilometers north of the capital of Dakar, fresh and, more importantly, local milk is easily within reach. Using these motorized tricycles, the milk is collected every morning and paid for on the spot. The tricycles must finish their rounds in less than 3 hours, or else the milk will spoil. They speed to the factory, where the milk is tested, cooled, and either bottled or turned into yogurt that is shipped daily across the country. Now, one of Senegal's largest dairy producers, but Batili says La Laiterie d'Auberger produces 20 metric tons of milk and yogurt per day. That's a lot more than cows in the areas can produce. So not all their products can be made exclusively from local milk, forcing the factory to top up with powder.
When we lack local milk, we use more powder. In some products, we have very specific recipes, and we only use local milk. And for other products, we have recipes that allow different rate of incorporation.
Batili hopes the success of his company will prompt other dairy producers to follow suit and push the government to help local milk become more competitive. Slowly, it's starting to work. In 2012, Senegalese beverage company Siagro started adding fresh milk to its dairy drinks. Today, Siagro buys 400,000 litres of fresh milk per year from suburban farms around Dakar, representing around 6.6% of its annual milk production.
The first challenge that we have is to have a sufficient volume of milk per person that we're working with. Right now, the national average collection of milk per cow is 2 to 3 liters per cow, which is very, very low if you look at European standards.
The solution, like milk powder, could also come from Europe. Past Agri is Siagro's biggest supplier of local milk, but this Senegalese company says it's using Dutch and French breeds of cows rather than local ones. While Past agrees, says the cows are expensive to feed and sometimes struggle with the heat, they still yield over 12 times more milk than local livestock and can be crossed with Senegalese cows to make them more productive. From helping herders like Diallo sell his milk to bringing in better cows, these are a few of the key steps to reviving Senegal's dairy industry.